Hello, I have decided to make this video on pre-reading skills with your toddler because I had a mum friend who told me that their 2.5-year-old is showing an interest in different letters, pointing things out, wanted to know what they are, and she just wanted to know how she could support him in this area. So it got me thinking about different techniques and tips to share with her because I'm an early years teacher. And then I thought other parents might want to know these things. So first of all, if your child is pointing out letters, or maybe they're pointing out big logos, like the big M in McDonald's, don't think, oh gosh, I'm taking them to McDonald's too much. No, this is amazing. Your child is making a connection between a big logo, a big M, and saying burger, chips, whatever they're saying. They are making the connection that this logo means this. So this is pre-reading skills. This is amazing what your child is doing. So there are other things you can do to support these skills, lay these foundations down, ready for your child when they do enter school or when they are ready to start learning letters and sounds. As an early years teacher, we call this phonological awareness, or it can be called phase 1 phonics. And that is just the ability for your child to hear and manipulate different sounds. So I'll talk a lot about this right now. But it all starts from babies. I should say this as well. Even from a baby, when you talk to your baby all the time, communication language is key. So your baby needs to be able to hear different words, to hear different sounds, okay? Then they start to say different sounds. They start saying ga, 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 goo, 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 whatever. They're starting to copy what you're saying, yeah? So they've got to be able to hear a sound. Then they've got to be able to say the sound. And then they'll see the sound. And then they'll write the sound. So that's the flow of it. So being able to hear different sounds. This is part of phonological awareness. It's not just spoken sounds, it's actually even environmental sounds. So hearing a vacuum cleaner going off, hearing the doorbell go. A child needs to be able to know these are different sounds before they're able to tell the difference in different letters and what their phonics are. So it's really, really important that children are aware and exposed to environmental sounds outside as well. Birds chirping, cars vrooming, inside the house, vacuum going off, doorbell, all the different noises that happen inside and outside. So there's environmental sounds. There's also instrumental sounds as well. Good for them to hear different ones. Amazing if they can distinguish between them. And animal sounds. So there are 3 different ones that I like to focus on. There are YouTube games you can play. All you got to do is search environmental sounds YouTube, environmental sounds for children on YouTube, and you'll have different ones come up. I like the multiple choice ones because it's quite visual for children who can't say, they might not know the word, I don't know, vacuum or doorbell. They might not be exposed to that vocabulary, but they might see a bell and they might be able to point that out. So I like the multiple choice ones. So if you can play those games, if you're giving your child it's a bit of YouTube time, whatever, at least try and make it an educational game, and that's a nice one that they like. Also rhyme. So nursery rhymes, singing to your child. This is all developing those phonological awareness skills. And then there are games you can play for your child to guess the rhyme or give them multiple choices, like, what rhymes with dog? Box or frog? And then letting them hear those end sounds. So phonological awareness is rhyming is part of phonological awareness as well. Alliteration, so bouncing baby boy, or use alliteration with your child's name. My little girl is called Layla, so I call her Layla Lollipop. So I want her to hear alliteration, her first sound, which brings me to initial sounds. Being able to hear and say initial sounds. So you can do this at home by playing I Spy, So you can do I spy with my little eye, something that starts with t, 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 t. So don't say the letter, don't say T, because that's not, they might not be able to link T to T yet. So t, 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 table. Children really like this game. You can play it when you're in the car as well. So that's a little bit of fun. And don't worry, you don't have to do initial sounds all the time. You can do colours, shapes, things like that. Especially if they're not quite there in their learning with initial sounds. If they can't hear it, the game can get a bit boring. So don't put them under too much pressure either. Just mix it up a bit. There's also segmenting and blending. So this is sounding out words. So you can use it with I Spy, you can use it with Simon Says, but you can say like at. So that's when you're sounding out the word. It's called segmenting. At, cat. When you put the sounds together, the three sounds together, you blend it. Games you can play for this are things like Simon Says. So Simon Says, hands on ha-ed, ha-ed. If they're not getting it, just say it a bit faster, ha-ed, ha-ed, head. So just breaking down words and then blending them together. Because then when your child does recognise that's a k, that's a a, that's a t, k-at, they should be able to blend naturally because they've been playing games already. So you're just laying down really, really good, secure foundations. Because as an early years teacher and teaching children to read in the past, when you teach sounds and the children don't know how to blend them together, you can read at box, or they say something really random. They say something totally not a cat, not even a cat, not even an at. Like they just say something totally different because they haven't got those skills to orally blend yet. But when they've got that part of reading will come a lot easier. And it's easier for you and it's easier for the teachers and it's easier for the child, because it does get frustrating for everybody when they can't blend those words and you're thinking they know all the sounds, they know these sounds, why can't they put them together? By playing these games orally, that will really help them because haven't got the pressure of the letters in front of them as well. So, and you can play these games with your baby when they're 2.5, you can really play with them when they're toddlers and lay these foundations in your baby's brain. So yeah, start when they're young, of course. Naturally, reading stories with your children, bedtime stories in the day, stories with rhyme, stories with alliteration, stories, because that builds their comprehension skills as well, being able to follow a story, understand a story, join in with repeated refrains. This is all part of their communication and language. The skills that they're developing, asking questions about the story afterwards. This is really good for your baby and your child. And also story time is quality time, isn't it? So it's just spending time together with your little one, and just doing that before bed or throughout the day is just something really nice for you both to do together. Wanted as well as to say about writing. So no pressure for children to write. Toddlers, they need to develop these fine motor skills. Yeah, they need to develop these muscles in their little fingers before they can pick up pencils and move them. And this starts with big gross motor skills and then into the little fingers as well. So they need to have a strong body and strong fingers in order to be able to write. So playing with Play-Doh, playing with Lego, moving things around, threading activities, any sort of activities using their fingers to strengthen these muscles, cutting. Children can start using their scissors, plastic ones when they're little, but just getting these little skills in is important before they start writing. getting them to draw circles, lines. That's one of the, well, they'll start with scribbling, then it'll be circles, then it'll be lines, and then they'll move on to make like string-like sort of letters, and usually letters, and that are of some importance and meaningful to them. So maybe like the first letter of their name they're trying to start to draw. And that's when the name becomes really important as well. It's really, really good if children from a young age can start to recognise their name, recognise the first letter. So having their name around the house, in their books. I've got rocks with my daughter's name on. So just getting their name everywhere. If you're colouring with your children or drawing, just write their name all the time so they become familiar with it, because these are also pre-reading skills. So I hope I have given some tips of what you can do at home with your child, ready for them to start reading and writing when they are ready. There is no point trying to make a child look at letters, look at sounds when they are not developmentally ready. They will be at some point. It's just meeting them when that time comes. And then if they're already prepared with all the phonological awareness that we've been filling them full of, it will come much, much more easily and much, much more naturally. So thank you for listening. Bye.